Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Vic here, back with another Madden 20 video, and in today's episode, just to start off, today is my birthday! And today is June 21st, 2020. I am not going to tell you my age, but yeah, you guys are probably wondering, why is your birthday on Father's Day? Well, here's the real truth, guys. I am your father. You guys are like, yeah, nice joke. No, seriously, where do you think you got the trait of subscribing to this dog crap channel? Where do you think you got it from? You got it from me. Exactly. That's where you got it from. So don't fight me. Don't even try it. So let's get into the video. So now that me expressing that I am your dad and your actual dad is not your real dad and that I am your dad, we're here to rebuild the Denver Broncos, who have a lot of underrated players that I do wish were valued more in the NFL. But overall, this is a great team, and I think they're ready to develop with their quarterback Drew Lock, who we are going to keep around the rebuild. But apart from that, guys, it is time to get into the video. Here we are with the overlook of the team as we have our quarterback here, Drew Lock, that I just explained that we are going to keep. A great rookie quarterback that came out of the second round from Missouri, 67 overall, hidden development, only 89 throw power, but it can be worked on. We have Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay, which we'll probably trade both of them, with Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Courtland Sutton's very underrated, and Jerry Jeudy, in my opinion, was the best receiver in the class, so I'm going to give him superstar development. Superstar X Factor is a little bit of a stretch, so I'm going to keep it at superstar development, which seems pretty fair to me, in my opinion. And Noah Fant is here, a great tight end, great rookie season for him. Overall, the secondary is pretty great. For some reason, Justin Simmons is at strong safety, but that's okay. I'm actually going to move him to a superstar X Factor because that is what he deserves. I know everyone's going to rage at me like, oh, you're changing the roster. No, this is the roster I downloaded, and he definitely 100% deserves a superstar X Factor. But I'm going to keep him that strong safety until we can look to replace it. But for now, Justin Simmons is our other superstar X Factor, along with Von Miller, who didn't have that amazing of a season this year. Wasn't really that great, to be honest, but I'm going to change some schemes here to make sure we are in the best position to win. And which one is the highest percentage? 78 is good, and I'm probably going to go Tampa 2 here. That works for me. My only problem with this rebuild is Drew Lock being such a low overall. Maybe he won't develop fast enough for this team to make a really good run. That is my only concern, but overall this team is pretty great. Bradley Chubb is a pretty good player too, very unnoticed as well, and I'm probably going to trade some of these kickers and punters because we don't need them. They probably take up a lot of caps, so let's get into the trades. Here we are with the first trade, trading our punter, our defensive back, and our free safety for a first, a second, and a first from the Chiefs. And here we are trading Jarrell Casey, our left end, and a 5th round pick for a first this year and a first next year from the Indianapolis Colts. Next, we are trading our defensive back, our center, and our 7th round pick for a first this year and a first next year from the Atlanta Falcons. And next, we have our kicker, our halfback, and our right end for a 1st round pick from the Carolina Panthers. And I think this might be the last trade, but we are trading our left tackle, our right tackle for a 1st and a 7th from the New York Giants. And apart from that, it's time to get back to the team. Here we are getting back to the team, looking at the roster as, again, not the best, really. I'm kind of looking to trade Melvin Gordon, but nobody really seemed to be too interested in him. Defensive line has drastically sucked even more. Defensive backs, I did trade most of them away, but this is kind of like a tank season, I guess. Not really, other than it is time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Indianapolis Colts, as we are 1-7 at the bottom of the division behind the Las Vegas Raiders. And looking into the team, we have Justin Simmons to resign, 85 overall only with selfless X Factor. I do want him back, obviously. He wants more money. I'm going to give it to him. Philip Lindsay, not interested, and the defensive tackle, not interested either. Apart from that, there's no one else here that I'm really interested in, so I think it would be time to get into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs, coming off a win to the Las Vegas Raiders, shutting them out 21-0. And we are 4-12, and looking into the stats, actually, well, before we do that, I want to see where we rank. Hopefully we were the worst team. No, the Redskins went 0-16, but we were the second worst team in the league, which is good, so we have better draft picks now. I think it would be time to get into the offseason, so let's actually get into that right now, shall we? Actually, wait, I feel stupid. Stats. Stats. That thing. Drew Lock did not do good. 30th best offense. Can't blame him. He had terrible offensive line. Defense 13th. Did a lot better than I thought. Melvin Gordon did horrible, but he had a terrible offensive line. Again, Melvin Gordon, yuck. Cortland Sutton had a great year, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. And defensive-wise, Todd Davis with the most tackles on the team. Tackles for a loss goes to Von Miller with 23. Sacks 5.5 for Bradley Chubb. 4 interceptions for Todd Davis. It's probably a development upgrade. Safety 0 and defensive touchdowns 0. So apart from that, now it would be time to get into the offseason. So let's get into it, and I will see you guys there. Here we are in the offseason as the 49ers beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Only if that worked out this year, but I guess it didn't work out like that. But we have Justin Simmons here to re-sign. And yeah, that's kind of all I got to say about it, because we're going to give him more money, and he's obviously going to stay. And this offer is perfect. He's going to play for next year, and everyone else here don't really have an interest in. Todd Davis is here, but he's 28 years old, so I'm not going to re-sign him, even though he did get the star development upgrade like I said he would. Drew Lock, only star development, of course. Cortland Sutton, no development upgrade, sadly, but the middle linebacker looks like the only guy who got a development upgrade, and we're not even going to re-sign him. So apart from that, it is time to get into free agency. Here we are after free agency, as we did end up picking up Alvin Kamara and T.Y. Hilton, both on pretty cheap contracts. And I'm going to make sure I'm going to see if T.Y. Hilton is in the slot. He is not. Jerry Jeudy plays slot. Defensively, we did get Mike Hilton and Jordan Lewis as depth defensive backs, and it is time to get into the draft. Here we are after the draft, as we picked up a huge part of O-lineman, right tackle, left guard, and center, which is very big. 2 defensive tackles and a defensive back as well. So very good draft for us. Increasing the interior defensive line was huge for the draft, but apart from that, it is time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Atlanta Falcons, as we have players to resign such as Cortland Sutton, but we are third in the division at 5-2, which is pretty great. But again, we have players to resign such as Cortland Sutton, and 88 overall superstar development, 24 years old. Obviously going to want to keep him around. It's going to be a huge contract for him, but we obviously need to keep him around, because if there's one thing I know about Madden, running back, quarterback, and receiver are one of the three biggest parts of making simulation go in your favor. But apart from that, I think it would be time to get into the playoffs. Here we are at the playoffs, coming off a loss to the Carolina Panthers, as we get shut out by the Carolina Panthers, and we finish second in the division, finishing 8-8, as the Chiefs take the division at 12-4, as Drew Lock was the worst quarterback in the NFL, and offensively we were 31st, and defensively we were 18th. Drew Lock, terrible season. Alvin Kamara didn't do as good as I would like him. Melvin Gordon had more touchdowns than him, 3 more touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton was not that good, even only 3 touchdowns. Defensively, Jewell had the most tackles for a loss. Jeff Kennedy, Von Miller with the most sacks, interceptions. Jewell with the most interceptions at 3, safeties 0, and defensive touchdowns 0. So apart from that, guys, I think it would be time to get into the offseason. Here we are in the offseason, as the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl to the Atlanta Falcons, and we have players to resign here such as Melvin Gordon and Jewell here, but we don't want to resign either of them, so I'm not going to do that because they're both not that valuable. But apart from that, looking into the team to see if we have any development upgrades, none that I can really see. I'm going to start Jerry Jeudy over T.Y. Hilton, because T.Y. Hilton is regressing defensively. I don't really know what I'm going to do with Von Miller either. He takes up a lot of cap and he does regress, so I probably will keep him throughout the series, but apart from that, I think it would be time to get into free agency. After free agency, this is what the team looks like. So we didn't really do too much on offense, but defensively, we did a lot. Getting Leighton Vander Esch here, Keanu O'Neal, and a few depth cornerbacks with Isaiah Oliver, Carl Lawson at right end as well. So apart from that, I think it would be time to get into the draft. Here we are after the draft as we ended up picking up a center, which is a big pickup. The offensive line is complete. We ended up picking two halfbacks up in like the second and third round just for kicks because they were the best player available. I don't really know what to do. And we picked up a defensive end. Defense is complete and offense looks pretty good to me. So apart from that, I think it would be time to get into the mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the LA Chargers as we are 3-4-1, and we are second in the division below the LA Chargers as they are 4-4. And looking into the team, well, not the team, but the re-signs. Von Miller is here again. I said this would be interesting, but I think I am actually going to keep him, but I'm going to keep him on a tag so that way he's a lot cheaper. And looking into everyone else, I don't really have an interest in anyone else, so I don't think I'm going to sign anyone else, but apart from that, I think it would be time to get into the playoffs. Here we are at the playoffs, coming off a win to the Baltimore Ravens, and looking into our record, we are 8-7-1 below the 10-6 LA Chargers. Drew Lock had a lot better season than last season, 15th best offense and 5th best defense. Looking into it, Drew Lock again, Alvin Kamara had a pretty solid season, actually, only 7 touchdowns. Courtland Sutton did amazing, 13 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, probably got best receiver. Justin Strand, I think that is, with the most tackles for a loss, 14 for Von Miller, most sacks, 9.5 for Von Miller, interceptions, 3 for Mike Hilton, and safeties is 1 for Leighton Vander Esch, and defensive touchdowns is 1 for Mike Hilton. So apart from that, I'm going to look if Courtland Sutton was the best receiver as Josh Allen wins the MVP. Interesting, but yeah, looking into it, best wide receiver is Courtland Sutton. He would most definitely go up to a superstar X Factor by Super Bowl week, so I'm excited for that. And apart from that, guys, I think it would be time to get into the offseason, so let's get into it. Here we are in the offseason as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Cleveland Browns in the Super Bowl for Super Bowl 56, as we have players to resign such as Von Miller, who's an 82 overall. Yikes. I'm going to offer him this contract again and then probably tag him. $22 million a year, no thank you. I'll probably just pick him up cheaper in free agency since he's old and nobody will probably pick him up. So apart from that, we're going to look into the team to see if there's any development upgrades. And obviously there's going to be Courtland Sutton, as you can see. Courtland Sutton, superstar X Factor with the ability Moss, which is interesting. And he has post elite and streak specialist, which is great. Even though I don't really understand streak specialist, he's like not that fast. But Leighton Vander Esch now has superstar development with secure tackler. And our defensive end has superstar X Factor from the draft. That's pretty insane with reinforcement, which isn't that good for a defensive end, but beggars can't be choosers. And apart from that, guys, I think it would be time to get into the draft, but I don't really know what we're going to pick up in the draft because this team is pretty stacked. So let's get into free agency first. Here we are after free agency, and again, I said the draft, which I meant to say free agency first, as we picked up a depth receiver, and we didn't really do much else other than pick up Von Miller once again. So I think now it would be time to get into the draft. And in the draft, we are trading a first-round pick for the right tackle, Lane Johnson, who I'm going to move to left tackle from the Philadelphia Eagles. Next, we have a first and a four for Travis Kelce, the tight end from the Kansas City Chiefs. Superstar X Factor, big pickup. And next, this is what the team looks like after the draft in the fourth and final year. O-line is stacked, tight end is perfect, receiving core is stacked with 2 superstar X Factors, a superstar X Factor at halfback, but Drew Lock just needs to perform. He just hasn't been doing that in this series, and we need to make the playoffs. Defensively, we have a pretty good defense. I'm overall happy with it. Everyone's at least star development on this team, and apart from that, I think it would be time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a bye week, as we are about to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we have players to resign, but I don't need to resign them just like every year. We are 7-0. That's what I'm talking about. Undefeated. Drew Lock is finally performing to his potential, and just like every year, I don't need to resign any of these players because it is the final season. And apart from that, I'm super excited, and it's time to get into the playoffs. And you're clowning me with this. I hate this game. Okay, we're coming off a loss to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs take the division as we finish third in the division at 9-7. What kind of drop-off is that, going from 7-0 to 9-7? That makes no sense. What is the second half of the season? You're telling me this kind of a team goes from 7-0 to 9-7. Okay, Madden simulation. I'm really mad about this right now. I'm extremely mad. Team schedule. Let's look at this. So at the midseason mark, we're about to play the Jags. We lose, and then we win, and then lose, win, and then lose. All we had to do was beat the Chiefs or the Seahawks in the last 2 games, and we would have made the playoffs. But no, Madden simulation is just perfect that way because that makes total logical sense. Okay, Madden? God, this honestly aggravates me so much. Okay, but apart from that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video of me raging and getting freaking pissed off over literally nothing. Jerry Jeudy, the star of this video, didn't even make the playoffs throughout his career. Yeah, again, really mad about this, but what can you do about it? And not really the best way to brighten up my birthday, but I guess it is what it is, and I'm going to be recording other videos today. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and peace out.